guys, my name is Maddie, or Books with Maddie, and today we're going to be going over the books that I read in August. So, I look a little bit more fun today than usual. I just filmed my bio/intro for the Spellbound Book Club, so that is why I look a little bit more made up. I don't know, I was trying to channel some magic vibes, so yeah. If you're wondering what the Spellbound Book Club is, it is the book club that I host with my good friend Morgan, or Morgan's Chaotic World. You can check out the Spellbound Book Club on our Twitter, which is spellbound_BC, or our Instagram, which is spellbound.bookclub. We are going to be doing some very exciting, very fun things and announcing them very soon. Actually, when this is posted, some things might already be announced. I don't know. It's craziness. It's fun. You should go check it out. It's gonna be a blast. So, that is my little plug for our book club. You should really go check it out. I also do have to address that technically August is not over. Today's the 30th, so I still have 2 days to read more books, and I will be reading more books. I am filming this a little bit early because school starts literally tomorrow, and I'm afraid that I will not have time to film this over the next week, so I'm filming it today in order to make sure that I have a video for this Saturday, which will be my August wrap-up, which is this video that you're watching currently. So you've made it to my August wrap-up. Congratulations. So I'm going to be going over the books that I read, as well as the books that I'm in the middle of that I have planned to finish in August. I know I will finish them because I have them divided into days of how to finish them, so they will be finished by the time August is over. I'm going to give them a general rating, what I'm thinking of them so far, and then if my rating changes, I will pop in at a certain point or somewhere and change the rating or let you know what I think differently. But first, I'm going to start with the books that I've actually read this month, including the books that I plan to read, which is only 2 that are, like, I'm in the middle of right now. Well, not in the middle, I'm close to the end. I will have only read 9 books this month. Now, I slumped hard in August. I think we all did. There was like some kind of communal book slump that we were all going through in August. So we're gonna go over the books that I read in August and the books that I was supposed to read because of my deck of TBR. Did I finish those? What's going on with that? So let's just get straight into it. So I started off this month with Go Set a Watchmen by Harper Lee. This was a prompt on my deck of TBR, which was the lowest rated book that I own on my Goodreads. So out of the books that I own, which was the lowest rated, and this was the book. I'm very surprised that it was rated that low. I ended up giving it 4 stars. This is, by the way, if you don't know, the follow-up to To Kill a Mockingbird. It takes place maybe 15-ish years. I think Jean Louise is like 25 in this book-ish, and it basically just follows her throughout the book. I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. There were definitely parts where it dragged, where I thought the writing was not that great, which is why I only gave it 4 stars, but the overall message of it and the unique perspective that it took was like very, very good, and I highly recommend. If you love To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm sure you will also love this. So yeah, highly recommend. Okay, the next book that I finished this month was Lila Again by Stacey Wise. This is an arc, and it doesn't come out until January 1st, I don't know. I'll put it up, but yeah, so this is it is shelved, I believe, as a thriller or a mystery on Goodreads, but I would sort it more towards just like general fiction. It follows basically 3 different women, Sylvia, Embry, and Riki. It's been a while since I read the book, and basically it just follows their story. They all live in this apartment complex together, and it follows their families, and this is not a spoiler, but there is a death at the bottom of a staircase. That's like in the synopsis, so I felt like that was like the main contention point. They all have secrets. They all will do very big things to keep those secrets secret. But it does take a very contemporary approach to their lives, so do keep that in mind, that it's not like a hardcore thriller, hardcore mystery. So I gave it 3 stars because it didn't blow me away, but it was like very interesting. The writing in it was exceptional. Her characters were exceptional. If you want like really in-depth characters, like yes, 100%, like incredible. Yeah, so that was Lila Again by Stacey Wise. The next book that I read was Dear Martin by Nick Stone, and this was a book for the Spellbound Book Club. Before it was the Spellbound Book Club, before it was anything that we were sharing, it was just Morgan and I's personal book club, and this was my pick for the round that we were in, and we both read it, we both loved it. I think we both gave it 5 stars. It was absolutely incredible. Honestly, probably will be in my top 10 favorite books of the year. Like, that's how good it was. Highly recommend it. Doesn't get as much hype as books like The Hate You Give and stuff like that, but I believe it deserves an equal amount of hype and love and, you know, everything. Like, it just was really incredible, and I cried over, like, everything. It was incredible. I super highly recommend this book. Oh, I didn't say what it's about. It follows a boy named Justice as he firsthand witnesses racial injustice. He goes to this, like, really esteemed private school. He's, like, very, very intelligent, this, like, really nice, like, normal guy, and he finds himself being arrested, and he just doesn't understand, like, he wasn't doing anything, and it kind of follows, like, the narrative of police brutality, and it is very, very relevant to today and the issues of today, and so I highly recommend you pick it up if you haven't yet. Okay, next, I read Falconer by Elizabeth May. This was another book for my deck of TBR. This has been on my shelf since literally middle school. I bought this at a book fair in middle school, and I never read it. I finally got around to reading it, and I, like, reasonably enjoyed it. I read it in, like, maybe 2 days. It was very fast-paced, very engaging, but it was just, like, your average, like, it wasn't anything special. It was very just, like, I read, like, 5 other things exactly like this before. It does have a lot of, like, Scottish influence, which I thought was very interesting. I'm not Scottish, but I find it interesting. There was some Scottish lore. Basically, it follows this girl named Aliana. I don't know. I'm sorry. She's 18 years old, and she is a falconer, which is basically, there are these, like, fae, but these are evil fairies. Is it fairy or fairy? Because I know it's fae, so it seems like it should be fairy, but I'm gonna say fairy. Okay, so evil, only certain people can see them and kill them and fight them, and she's one of those people who can fight them. She can't see them, she has to wear this, like, fancy necklace to see them, but, like, she still is able to fight them. Her and this other guy, like, fight them, and then, like, it gets pretty intense, and then, like, something big happens, and there's a climax, and then, you know, it's like any other book. There's, like, you know, it goes up, it goes down, you know. She's, like, she's descended from these, like, amazing female warriors. It's very empowering. I liked that aspect of it. And I am going to continue with the series, honestly, because it left a pretty big cliffhanger, to be honest. Like, A+ cliffhanger. Very cool. Will continue. 3 stars. Don't know if I already said that, but yeah. Okay, next. What did I read next? Oh my gosh! Okay, my favorite book of the month. Actually, I don't know. Dear Martin might be my favorite book of the month, but this is a close contender. Rebel by Marie Lu. This I read for Deck TBR for the prompt, finish the series. Okay. If you aren't aware, Marie Lu wrote an amazing series, like, a while ago, called Legend. There's Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. If you haven't read them, you really should. They are exceptional works of literature. I read them last year. Legend and Prodigy were some of my favorite books of last year. And then I read Champion, and, like, literally broke me. Like, I was legitimately not okay. I cried for, like, quite a few hours after finishing that book. And then last year, Marie Lu was like, hey, guess what, guys? I'm writing a 4th book. And I was like, oh my gosh. I really freaked out, and I ordered it immediately. And then it arrived, and I never read it. I finally broke down. I was like, I'm gonna read Rebel. And I really didn't want to. I was so scared. This takes place 10-ish years after Champion, after the end of Champion. And it mostly follows Eden, who is Day or Daniel's younger brother, who was, like, a pretty significant character in the original trilogy. And then it also follows Daniel, who was previously known as Day, but now goes by Daniel. And, we get some June action. This book healed me. Will be 100% in my top 10 favorite books of this year. I can't explain to you how good this book is. Like, Marie Lu can make me feel things that no other author can. I swear she has the talent to crush me and make me whole again. I need to read everything she ever writes. If you loved the trilogy, please read Rebel. Please do yourself a favor. You are doing yourself a disservice by not reading this book. It is incredible. I can't even explain to you how much you should read this book. Please, please, please read this book. Thank you. Okay, next we read... Now, this is, like, a bit of a breakthrough for me, to be honest. Basically, Last year, I read Shatter Me by Tara Mafi. This book, I didn't like it at all. I think it was like my second least favorite book of the entire year. Everybody likes this book. They're like, this is the best book. I didn't like it at all. I really didn't. Like, writing, 10 out of 10. A+, 5-star writing. I gave it 2 stars. You can read my full review about all of the problems I had with it on Goodreads. There's a whole thing that I go rant about. I stopped. I was like, I'm not continuing with the series, and then a bunch of people were like, no, continue with the series because it gets better, and and Adam isn't in it anymore, and I hate Adam. Ugh, he makes me angry. This book, it does come with the novella, Destroy Me, Warner's novella, but I never ended up reading it. Okay, that was the backstory. Now, current day, I picked this for a deck of TBR, and I don't remember what the prompt was, because I bought it, and I also bought Imagine Me. And, no, that's not what it's called, Ignite Me. Is there not one called Imagine Me? I feel like there is. But anyway, so I bought Unravel Me on a whim. Don't know why I did it. Bad judgment on my part, but now I was like, okay, now I have, like, this whole trilogy, and I have to read it at some point, so I picked it. I don't remember why. But before I wanted to refresh my memory on what was going on, what this world was like, and so I read the novella, which was about, like, 100 pages in the back of this book. Loved it. Okay, now when I say loved it, I mean I gave it 3 stars, which might not be, but like compared to Shatter Me, excellent. I liked Warner's perspective, and I hated Warner in the first book, but something about his perspective in this one was just like, I understand him, and he's such an in-depth character, and he's morally gray, and I love morally gray characters, and like I just didn't know him fully, and like now I know him, and now I love him, and I loved his novella. And then I was like, okay, now I read Unravel Me, and like the first half of this, nothing happened. Not a single thing happened. Except Adam and Julia trying to get into each other's pants and not being able to for whatever reason. Like, literally nothing happened. I was so incredibly bored, and I missed Warner, and I never thought I would say that. I feel like I'm betraying a part of myself by saying that, but it was the truth. I missed Warner. After I read his novella, I just wanted his perspective again. So, that was the other book that I read. I'm counting that as a book because it was 100 pages, and that's literally a book. Okay, so 3 stars for Destroy Me. The first, like, 300 pages of this, no, 200, I'll say. Nothing happened. Literally nothing. Terrible. And I was like, this is why I hate the series. And then the second half came and it rescued it. Second half was 4 stars. First half was 2 stars, so we rounded it to 3 stars. And I'm excited to start Ignite Me. I'm reading it in September, and I'm excited about it. So, yay! That's great news. We finally understand the hype. Now, those are all of the books that I've completed this month. So let's now talk about what else is going on. There are 3 books that I'm currently in the middle of, and I'm planning to finish 2 of them. So let's chat about why. The first one is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the 5th Harry Potter book, and I am nearly done. I'm planning on finishing this by the end of the month, and right now my rating is probably going to be 4 stars. It just isn't really my favorite Harry Potter book, and so I'm giving it 4 stars. Probably. Most of the ending is incredible, but yeah. 4 stars for right now. The other one that I'm planning on finishing by the end of the book is Where the Desert Meets the Sea. I believe the author's name is Werner Sohn, but I believe it's a translation from, like, German. So I'm not really sure. It's about Israel and Palestine and the emergence of Israel as a state, I believe. So it's about the conflict between the Arabs and the Jews after World War I, fighting over the state of Palestine, and then, yeah, okay. Very interesting historical time period that not a lot of books are written about. Very excited to read this book. Read it for a deck of TBR. Let me tell you something. This book is terrible. I really don't like it. Considering giving it 1 star. Would be my first 1-star historical fiction, so that would be crazy. Really choppy and, like, clinical. Characters are incredibly one-dimensional. They have no depth to them. Just very not good, in my opinion. Incredibly interesting historical time period. I would love to read a book, just like a non-fiction book about that time period, because I feel like that would give me 10 times more information. I'm probably going to give it 1 star, 2 star. I'll put the final rating here. And then the last book was a book for my deck of TBR. I believe the prompt was a book that I meant to read in 2019, and this book is Some Bad Romance by Heather Demetrius. I don't plan on finishing this book this month. And I also don't plan on picking a punishment for deck of TBR. So for deck of TBR, if I don't finish one of the books for my deck of TBR, in the next month I have to pick an extra card. I'm not going to be punishing myself. So when I picked this book up last year. A lot of it for the cover. I mean, this cover is gorgeous, and also the synopsis seemed really interesting. So basically it follows this girl named Grace. She lives in this like very abusive and toxic household, and then she finds herself in a very abusive and toxic relationship. And the entire thing is written in like second person, basically a letter to her ex-boyfriend, like the guy who she was in a relationship with. The reason that I am not going to finish this and I'm not DNFing it either, I am going to finish this book, but I'm taking my time with it. When I was looking at the reviews for this book before I started it, I started to realize that a lot of the reviews said that this book was very hard to get through. It was very heavy. The topic material was just incredibly heavy and very important as well. I got a little bit nervous about reading it after I found that out, but I decided that out of respect for the content and the importance of it, I would continue to read it, but it is proving to be a lot. I don't think that right now it would be wise for me to push through this book and force myself to read it for the sake of deck of TBR. That's just not smart on my part. And so I'm going to be, continuing it into September, hopefully finishing it in September, but I'm not going to be rushing myself through it out of respect for myself and my own mental health, and out of respect for this book. This isn't something that should be rushed through. This is something that needs time and digestion to like fully process the fact that this is like very heavy and very real. It's a really important discussion that needs to be had to this book, but I'm not going to force myself to finish it by the end of the month. Yeah, I did want to bring that up because I think it's important that we aren't rushing. Sometimes we're trying to, hit our reading goal or whatever, and we rush through these really important books that some just need time to process and things like that. So I think that's really important. I think it's something that we should do more often. There is like a decision between rushing through a book and DNFing it. Like, we can take some time and work ourselves through it and things like that. So, but yeah, that is what I'm going to be doing with this book. So yeah, those are the books that I read, and I believe that's 9 books that I read in August. If you haven't seen my Deck of TBR video for September yet, I highly recommend you check that out. It is cursed. Next month's wrap up is going to be like 3 hours long. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know a lot of people, their school year is starting, so I hope you guys are having a good school year. Make sure you're staying safe, wearing your masks, maintaining social distancing, 6 feet apart, all of the things. I hope you guys have a great week and a great life, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.